Hey everyone, Michael O'Brien here, and today we're going to discuss what to do if you get stood up by a client for a gig. Hello my friends, and welcome back to another episode of Advice for Magicians, where my goal is to help make you the best possible entertainers that you can be. Now in today's video, I'm going to answer a question that someone asked on one of the Facebook groups, which is, I showed up to a gig today. I made sure that I had the right address. I made sure that it was the right date. I double checked everything, but the client never showed up. When I called them, they never returned my calls. I went into the hotel where the venue was supposed to be. I talked to the hotel and they told me there was no record of these people even being there, right? So in this video, we're going to talk about what to do in the event that this happens and what steps you can take to make sure that this doesn't happen to you, right? So before we do that, real quick, normally at this time I'd ask, if we have any announcements or anything like that, blah, 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 blah. I do shout outs and all of that jazz. But I've been taking your guys' back into consideration, and you have mentioned that you would like to maybe kind of skip those things. Now, I don't want to cut the shout outs and everything out completely, but instead of doing it right here at the beginning of the video, we're going to do it at the end of the video. Also, I asked for some feedback on what do you guys think is better. Do you think landscape is better, or do you think portrait is better for certain videos? And I've gotten mixed things, so I think that we're going to go ahead and stick to the way that I've been doing it, which is going to be portrait for videos where you need to see my face and my hands at the same time. So like if I'm doing something on the table, I think it's just a better format for that. But for videos like this where you just have to see my ugly mug, right? I think maybe I might just keep it landscape. That way everything is nice and organized and all that stuff. So let's go ahead and jump right into the contents of this video now. So what can you do, right, to kind of keep from, being stood up by a client? Now, I already did another video talking about a similar subject, which is the importance of you showing up. I recommend that you guys take a look at that video because you'll notice some overlap here. Some of the advice I'm going to give is very similar to the advice in that video, but essentially there are three key things that I do to kind of guarantee that this isn't going to happen. Number one, I collect a deposit. And that deposit is non-refundable, which basically means that the client has skin in the game, right? If you don't collect a deposit, they have nothing to lose. So on the day, you can show up and they can be like, yeah, we decided we don't want the magician anymore. You can go ahead and go home now. And you're like, what the heck, man? I came all the way over here and you didn't even pay me. I turned down other gigs. I had other clients asking me if they wanted me to be at their event. And I said, sorry, I'm already booked. Well, now I'm out that money, I'm out your money, I'm out the money from the other gig, right? So always collect a deposit, some kind of deposit. It doesn't matter what it is. Some magicians prefer a small little deposit like $50. Some magicians might say you have to pay half. Some magicians might say you need to pay in full at the beginning. It doesn't matter, but you do need to collect a deposit, a non-refundable security. The point of the deposit is basically to say, hey, I'm going to reserve this date for you guys. So when other clients ring me, I can tell them, hey, sorry, my friend, I'm already booked by another client, and you don't have to worry about the client canceling on you. Because worst case scenario, if they end up calling you and they say, hey, I know that we were going to have you booked on this date, but you know what, like, we have to go ahead and cancel. We lost the venue, or everyone got COVID or whatever, right? And it's a bummer you're not going to get to do the event, but at least you're not completely out the money because you were able to collect that security deposit. So that's what that's for. That's what I recommend that you guys do, is collect a deposit. Now, the second thing that you guys are going to want to do is make sure that you check in with the client, right? You want to call them. You want to make sure that they know exactly what's going on. You want to make sure that you ask questions, right? You can call them a week before the event. You can call them up to 24 hours before the event, right? But you want to keep that communication open. If you get booked and then never talk to the client again and then rock up to the gig and they don't show up, I mean, there is a chance that there was some kind of miscommunication. Things happen, right? Maybe it was like a wedding and the person that was in charge of getting the wedding done maybe the bride or the groom, maybe they ain't getting married anymore. Maybe they got in a big fight or something happened, right? And they broke off the engagement and they canceled everything. But maybe in the midst of canceling all of the stuff and all of the chaos, they forgot to cancel the magician. So they didn't call you. You walk up to the wedding venue and then you get there and they're like, sorry, the wedding's been canceled. So make sure that you're in communication with them, right? I'm not saying you got to pick up the phone every day and bug them, but just call once or twice before the event. Say, hi, this is Michael O'Brien. Well, don't tell them that you're Michael O'Brien. Tell them that you're you. You use your name when you do this. But call and say, hi, I'm Michael. I'm the magician, right? I just wanted to call and check in with you guys, make sure everything is still good. These are the details that I have, and I recite back the details. It's at this location, at this time, on this day, and these are the services that you guys asked for and all that stuff, right? Do you guys have any questions about anything? You know, is there anything that I can do to assist to make your event go smoothly? Yada, yada, yada. You guys get the idea, right? You check in with them a couple of times, and so you know everything is going to go smoothly, right? Which brings us to step number 3, and that is to get them on a contract. Now, I'm not saying you have to have a lawyer type up this big old thing, right? 100-page contract that the client has to read. Just a basic contract, just basically stating your terms and your conditions. Now, for me personally, my terms say that in order to secure the date, you need to give me a 50% deposit. That deposit is non-refundable. Also, if they do not cancel within 24 hours of the event, they are responsible for the remaining balance. That's just my own personal thing. If I show up on the day and you're like, hey, sorry, we don't need you anymore, that's cool, but like you got to pay me the remaining balance now because I showed up, right? So that is something that you can do. You can have that all in writing and everything. That way you're protected. Now, I understand things come up. You can always make exceptions, you know, like there was an emergency, there was an earthquake, or the building that they were having the event in literally burned down that morning. You show up and there's fire trucks putting out a fire. Obviously, I'm not going to force the client to pay me the remaining balance in that case. Things happen, right? Another thing that you can do is if they do need to cancel the day of, you can say, you know, it's okay, it's not a problem. Rather than just keeping your security deposit, how about this? I will transfer your security deposit to another date that you guys can choose, and then you guys can pay me the remaining balance as a deposit towards that date. So when we do the date, you guys aren't really out any money. It's as if you just booked me and everything went smoothly today. You guys are welcome to do that, or you can just forfeit your security. It's completely up to you. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm telling them, look, pay me the remaining balance, and on another day, I'll show up and I'll do the gig for you, and you guys will be square. You won't owe me anything. You won't have to have paid a penny more for the same service that you would have had. You're just doing it on a different day. Does that make sense? Right? What I don't recommend doing is just transferring the date without collecting any more money, because now if they stand you up again, now that's 2 days that you're telling other clients that you're already booked for and that you're losing money on. So I do ask them, you know, if you guys pay me the remaining balance, I am happy to reschedule for another date for you. But if they cancel that one, again, you're out that money. So the whole point is to really hold their feet to the fire. The whole point of collecting a security deposit in general is so that they are being held to the agreement that they won't cancel on you, that you will show up and that they will show up. And then the remaining balance is typically collected on the day, basically ensuring that I, the performer, will show up. Some clients like to pay in full up at the beginning, and that's totally fine. Other clients will really like to wait until the last minute to pay, and that's fine too, right? But communication is key, right? Number 1, collect a deposit. Number 2, communicate. Probably the most important thing of this whole thing. And number 3, come up with a sort of a system, a contract, an agreement between yourself and the client so that there are no questions, right? When you show up on the day, they know. Now, let's just say you have collected a security deposit, you have a contract, you've communicated with them, you've done everything that I told you to do, and you show up to the gig and crickets. No one's there, they canceled the event, no one told you anything. If you really feel strongly enough, you do have a good case that you can actually take them to small claims court and you can get the remaining balance from them. Now, the amount of effort that you want to take, To do that is completely up to you. For me personally, I would tell them that they owe the remaining balance, but if they absolutely refuse to pay it, depending on how much money it is, I factor those losses into my finances. So I know that there is a chance that I might be out that money. But I'll be 100% honest with you guys. Since doing this system where I, take a deposit, I'm making sure I'm being communicative, I have a contract with them and all of these things, I have not one time shown up to a gig that they told me was to be canceled. It just doesn't happen because they don't want to lose that money, right? In worst case scenario, if they decide, you know what, we don't want the magician anymore and they want to cut their losses and just lose the deposit, as long as they've done so in advance, it's not a huge deal. I basically just made $200, $300, $400 to sit on my butt and not do anything at home. So I really cannot complain too much about that. Anyway, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. If you did, you'd like to see more videos like it, make sure to click the subscribe button. And don't forget to ring the bell so that you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. If you'd like to support the channel for just $1 a month, I also highly recommend you guys consider clicking the join button. It's only $1 a month to join, and you guys will access all of my members only content, including my tutorial videos. You guys will get early access to all my premiere videos, so you don't have to wait for those to go live. You can watch them as soon as I upload them. And you'll even get discounts at O'Brien Magic. Now, my favorite thing is I will go ahead and shout you guys out as well so that we can all see the newest members of the Mob Squad family. So I'd like to go ahead and take the time right now to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, please say hello to Ben Coddington. Excuse me. Sorry, that was last week's. Ben, you get a second shout out. This week's is Anand and Crazy Jake. Thank you guys so much for your continued love and support. It really means a lot to me that you guys have decided to support my channel. It's because of you, because of everyone at home that continues to watch these videos, that I really am able to keep the channel going. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys next time with more advice for magicians. Take care, everyone.